Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons. Sign up for the Shannons Club, Kenworth Trucks Australia, Pace Farm Eggs, and Holden Certified Service AC Delco Parts.
G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome to the show as I continue to cross a part of the United States of America for 2024 with a big thanks to Shannons. Leaving Auburn, Indiana, making our way to Bowling Green, Kentucky. In this week's episode, there's a very special Corvette museum that I would like to share with you. And this week's Classic Restos, stateside. Here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, it's Sunday morning, the gates are shut. Just thought I'd film a few American Kenworths for you. Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's known for a lot of things. Abraham Lincoln was born here, along with actors George Clooney and Johnny Depp. Kentucky Fried Chicken was first sold here. And of course, the Kentucky Bourbon keeps on flowing, and a whole lot more. Bowling Green, Kentucky is also known for another historic landmark, and its automotive. Welcome to the National Corvette Museum. What an incredible place. Many of us know and love the Corvette. It's the type of car that, well, even if you are not a car guy and you had to guess what car it was, chances are you would guess Corvette. Symbolically referred to by many as the American sports car, it has been in production since 1953. It is located near General Motors' Bowling Green assembly plant, where Corvettes are manufactured. This state-of-the-art facility was constructed in 1994 and it opened to the public in September the same year. Representing the evolution of the Corvette, the museum offers captivating exhibits, immersive experiences, Corvette manufacturing plant tours, and unique offerings that engage visitors of all ages and backgrounds in the history of Corvette. Rolling perfectly, the museum was cruising along in top gear with the wind through its hair. But in Bowling Green, Kentucky, on February the 12th, 2014, a part of the museum floor collapsed due to a sinkhole. The museum was closed. 8 historically significant Corvettes were damaged. The footage captured by Corvette Museum security cameras confirms the sinkhole opened shortly before 6 a.m. The museum said the sinkhole was the result of the top of a previously unknown cave collapsing beneath the museum. The result was a 30-foot deep hole below the facility's sky dome, where the Corvettes resided. Repairing the damage required filling the hole with just under 4,000 tons of crushed limestone and setting up 72 micropiles to stabilize the structure. The work was completed in July 2015, and here we stand today. Inside the National Corvette Museum here, Bowling Green, Kentucky. What an incredible experience. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing well, Fletch. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much, curator here at the museum. This wouldn't be going to work for you. This would be almost turning up and going to hobby each day, right?
It is for sure. It's great to be in an environment like this where we have a wonderful car collection, get to study the history of America's sports car, create lots of great exhibits, and welcome visitors from all over the world.
I think from 1994, from the museum's inception, I think the recognition that Corvette definitely deserves, it's wonderful to have a place like this. And when you might be thinking, oh, we might just have a small showroom or something and that's a museum, that's so far from incorrect. It's a massive place here. What sort of square feet are we talking?
It's a massive place for sure. Gotten a lot bigger over the 30 years that we've been open. Originally, the museum was just the part that we're standing in, basically kind of this one big long hallway and back through the different galleries. Around 2009, we added in the boulevard where we have all of our delivery Corvettes on display, the place for the Stingray Cafe, just a really great space where we can honor the Corvette and preserve its legacy.
And speaking of which, Brian, the love affair has to begin somewhere, and that's right behind us here with a 1953 Corvette on display.
That's right, Fletch. This is one of 300 Corvettes that were built in 1953. That was the first year of the car's production. And all 300 of them were mostly hand-built in a makeshift assembly line in Flint, Michigan. All 300 of them had a polo white exterior, red interior, and the Blue Flame 6 engine, which was a six-cylinder inline engine. The V8 didn't come along until 1955.
How must it have been back in 53 to have bought the first Corvette, or just to be able to buy a Corvette back in those times? Because prior to that, there was really nothing that it compared to.
There wasn't a true American sports car that the Corvette really compared to. It was Harley Earl's vision after seeing the growth of road racing in the United States, seeing folks who had served in World War II come back after having been opposed to European sports cars to create an American version of this two-seat high-performance roadster.
They said too almost that the Volkswagen Beetle didn't have any competition when it came out. It's kind of like these Corvettes back then were in that same category.
There are cars over the years that have just such a wonderful connection with the people who drive them. Volkswagen Beetle was certainly one of those, and the Corvette has become that over the course of the last 7 decades, and that's what we're here to honor and celebrate.
When I was a kid, I loved cars, still do. The 57 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham was the most advanced car in the world. Cost more than a Rolls. Hand-built with a stainless steel roof, cruise control, electric seats, and would you believe, air suspension. American iron. It's a passion Shannons understand. That's why they insure my daily drive, the caddy, my bike, even the house.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
When it comes to cars, there are some brands that will remain with us forever, no matter what. The Holden was always Australia's own car, held high in the hearts of many. Those lines, that chrome, the stories around them, and the people that owned them. From the classic through to the final, you can still trust in genuine Holden and AC Delco parts, available through the Holden Certified Service Network.
Your story began in 1971. It's part of an endless tapestry that tells the story of our nation. It connects innovators to artisans, forests to houses, from the largest of operations to the smallest of outcomes. It's heritage. It's a legacy.
Moving through the museum with curator Brian here, it's almost like a maze, walking around a corner and into another door, which then opens up into another big section. We're here in the Toy Emporium. What's going on in here, Brian?
So this is a space that we redesigned very recently. About 2 years ago, we had a gentleman give us a large donation of Corvette toys. Almost every toy that you could imagine that was Corvette related, he had. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to, display those different artifacts. So we redesigned this space into the Toy Emporium, where we basically made this building into a giant exhibit case where we could show different Corvette toys, not just cars, but board games, dolls, other models. Just a really great display that helps show all the different things in our collection besides the full-size Corvettes.
Brian, what's the story, the 1957 behind us here?
So Fletch, the great thing about this car is that it actually raced on the sands of Daytona Beach in 1957. It participated in the speed trials that were sanctioned by NASCAR, and the gentleman who raced it got a certificate that was signed by Bill France, NASCAR's founder, for going over 100 miles an hour.
On the beach?
On the beach, yes. It was a great tradition for many, many years to race on the sands of Daytona Beach. Not just the stock car races that the area became famous for. There were so many different cars that were able to race on the beach. The nice thing about Daytona is that the sand there is unusually wide and solid and very packed down. That's what made it a good place to race, to test cars out as far back as the first decade of the 20th century. And racing on the beach continued periodically up through the late 1950s until they finally opened Daytona International Speedway in 1959.
So, Brian, we're in the McMichael Family Education Gallery. We have a frame behind us here, the C8 Corvette Rapid Prototype frame.
So, Fletch, this is a really cool artifact. This was made through a 3D printing process, and it was designed so that it would essentially train robots and other machinery how to assemble the C8 chassis. You'll see this piece has different numbers and codes on it. Those are essentially instructions for the robots about how the whole chassis gets bolted together.
So when did the thought, the idea of this with the robots, when would that stuff have been on the drawing board?
So the C8 had been planned for almost probably more than 10 years before it actually debuted in 2020. And the idea behind this was they wanted it to be a mid-engine Corvette, and they were trying to figure out the best, most efficient ways to build the chassis and make sure that they would be able to have the car, ready to go with the timeline that they'd planned. And what this accomplished in terms of the 3D printing was that it helped them stick to the timeline that they have. It gave them an efficient way to build the chassis, and just helped with the process of getting the car from the idea stage to the finish line.
The kaleidoscope of corridors just keeps on going, Brian. Here we are in the E. Pierce Marshall Performance Gallery now.
Fletch, this is one of my favorite spots in the museum. This is where we get to show all the different Corvette racing cars, all the Corvettes that have a racing history. And behind us is a real Corvette race car. We call it the C8R, essentially just the racing version of the C8. It was built by Pratt Miller for Corvette racing, and this car competed in IMSA in 2020 and 2021, and then in the World Endurance Championship in 2022.
Give us a rundown on the power plant on this car.
So this car produces about 500 horsepower, a little bit higher than the street version, the C8 Stingray. The difference is that this car has, of course, parts built specifically for racing, parts that need to conform to the different rules and the regulations of the series that it competes in. But it's been a point of pride for the Corvette team and for Pratt Miller that the race car and the version that you would drive on the street are developed these days hand in hand and have a lot in common.
On the Shannons Club, you can search for the series Design to Driveway. It's a very comprehensive series of exactly that. Here at the Corvette Museum, we have a facility here representing the Corvette. Brian, tell us more.
So this is a great space. It's called Driven by Design, and this is the area where we tell the engineering history, the design history, all the different concepts and prototypes that have gone into making the Corvette what it is today. There's just so much that goes into designing these cars, creating these cars, even thinking of different ways these cars can exist. The vehicle behind us is an experimental vehicle. It's called XP819. Its nickname is the Ugly Duckling, and which was a nickname given to it by Zora Arkus Duntov, who was essentially the godfather of the Corvette. But this car is an example of a rear-engine prototype Corvette.
The rear engine, that's interesting. What was the size of the engine and type that was used or intended for the prototype?
The Ugly Duckling, the original engine was a marine engine that was placed on top of a Pontiac transaxle. In this room, we have the color studio that gives an example of many of the different colors that Corvette has come in over the years, models for all 8 generations of Corvettes, different concept cars. Like the Ugly Duckling behind us, famous for having this Coke bottle design by Larry Shinoda. Shinoda, of course, was the designer who came up with the shape of the second generation Corvette, and just went on to have this really remarkable career in automotive design.
When I was a kid, I loved cars, still do. The 57 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham was the most advanced car in the world. Cost more than a Rolls. Hand-built with a stainless steel roof, cruise control, electric seats, and would you believe, air suspension. American iron. It's a passion Shannons understand. That's why they insure my daily drive, the caddy, my bike, even the house.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
They may not be making the classic Holden anymore, but the legacy lives on. You can still have a Holden certified service using genuine Holden and AC Delco quality parts at over 180 centres across Australia. Go to holden.com.au to find your nearest centre. Book your Holden in, maintain the pride.
And of course, if you own a classic truck, perhaps you're after some laid-up insurance cover. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646. And the Shannons Club awaits you as Australia's largest automotive online hub. For more information, visit shannons.com.au. And of course, Brian, 2014, the sinkhole, the time when the earth underneath just opened up and sucked everything down. Behind us here, a 1962 tuxedo black Corvette, a survivor car. Tell us more, please.
So this was one of the cars that fell in the sinkhole in 2014. The gentleman who previously owned it and donated to us, he was very particular about keeping his car in excellent condition. He never took it out in bad weather. His friends even called him the Rain Man because of how protective he was of his Corvette. So after our staff rescued this car from the sinkhole, we decided that we were going to restore it in-house, just precisely to the way that the donor would have found it. That process lasted several months, and my favorite story from that restoration was they discovered a sugar packet underneath one of the seats, an empty sugar packet, and decided to just put it back and leave it there so it would be as an authentic restoration of the vehicle as possible.
Describe the feeling of staff, the initial people that found out about when the sinkhole happened, when you knew that 8 of your prized Corvettes were swallowed down into the hole. What was the feeling like?
Shock was obviously the biggest thing. There was so much debris and dust floating around where the sinkhole happened that initially we weren't sure how many Corvettes were actually in the hole. Even once we started doing our initial investigating, you couldn't even see all 8 cars. Some were completely buried in dirt and debris. After that initial day, we got just an enormous outpouring of support from other automobile museums around the world, from other folks in the Corvette community, and fortunately we were able to recover all the cars, restored several of them, and in many ways welcomed a whole new group of visitors to the museum who were curious about the sinkhole and what was going on here and what we were doing to fix things.
Speaking of support too, it was nice that General Motors offered to restore 2 of the 8 cars, is that correct?
General Motors restored the 2009 Blue Devil, which was the prototype of the C6 version of the ZR1. They also restored the 1/1,000th Corvette that was built in 1992.
Another spectacular part of the Corvette Museum here, the Sky Dome. Now, it has its own history as well, Brian.
Absolutely. If you've driven by the museum on Interstate 65, you'll see this big yellow cone-shaped structure. That's what the Sky Dome is. Inside is the museum's essentially grand finale, our biggest showroom, where we have lots of different cars on display. exhibits like our 70th anniversary of Corvette exhibit, our pop culture and Corvette exhibit, and this is also the space where the sinkhole actually opened up and formed in 2014. Once the hole happened, we were able to recover the cars, and we built back the Sky Dome bigger and better than ever. Just last year, we added in this giant video wall, the LED screen that stretches almost all the way around the entire room. The Sky Dome now is as safe as it's ever been. It's a great place to display cars. Also, the area of the museum where we honor the 80-some members of the Corvette Hall of Fame.
Brian, we're outside in the boulevard. All these stunning Corvettes with their ribbon barriers around them. What's happening here?
So this is the Corvette Boulevard, and this is where we have all our delivery Corvettes set up. Essentially, when people buy new Corvettes, they have the option to visit the museum, get kind of a VIP treatment, have a tour, and at the end of that, pick up their cars and drive them out of the museum.
How exciting is that?
It's pretty great. Many times when the new owner fires up their car and drives out around the corner, everybody will start applauding, and there'll be a light show, and we know it's a special moment, and we want to make sure that people have that just great memorable experience when they get in their Corvette for the first time.
Brian, that is just amazing. It's a testament to General Motors here in the United States of America, and of course to people like yourself that do a marvellous job here. This place is stunning. Bowling Green, Kentucky, you put that on your road trip. You've just got to come here and experience it. So on that note, Brian, I want to thank you for your time today, and also a big thank you to Mariah Hughes, who played an integral part of organising this day and for this exclusive episode of Classic Restos. As we cross part of the United States for 2024, and a big thanks to Shannons. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you, Fletch. It was great to have you here. There's so many people that make this museum a wonderful place, and we're really happy that we could share it with you today.
Well, thank you for being one of the teeth on the big cog.
My pleasure.
Cheers, bud. And with me now, we have Mariah. Her title is that large. I'm going to have to get her to tell us what she does.
I'm the Media Relations and Marketing Production Manager.
Wow, Mariah, that badge could almost go like, 2 or 3 times that size. You do a wonderful job here. This place is really something.
It is. It's such a great place. And, we just celebrated our 30th anniversary in August and September of this year. So we're really excited to be here and to welcome different automotive enthusiasts, whether you are a Corvette person, just appreciate automotive history, or American history too. We're glad to have everyone here.
Mariah, on a global basis, Corvette enthusiasts from all over the world are here?
Yes, they do. They come from all over the world, and we even have great friends with Corvettes Down Under in Australia too.
Yes, the Corvette fraternity down under is strong, and General Motors Australia being a sponsor of Classic Restos as well. So it all ties in nicely.
Yes, it does. And with the start of the 2020 production year, Bowling Green Assembly Plant started producing those right-hand drives. So our international presence is more prominent now than ever.
That's really exciting, because we hear a lot of the opposite, where vehicles are stopping production. So when we hear of a car such as the Corvette to be moving forward, that's refreshing to hear.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and celebrating more than 70 years of Corvette history is a feat that only a couple other models can say.
I'm sure you'll agree. Mariah does a fantastic job here at the National Corvette Museum here at Bowling Green, Kentucky, United States of America. Thank you very much, Mariah.
Well, thank you, Fletch, for visiting, and I hope that you have fun with the rest of your stay.
About to call Lance Miller, a co-owner of Carlisle Events, Corvette guru. I thought he might appreciate this. How you doing, Lance?
I'm very good, Fletch. How are you?
Great, thank you. Hey, Lance, we're at the National Corvette Museum down here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I know this place means a lot to you, and, well, guess where I am standing right at this moment?
I bet my dad's looking down on you, am I right?
Yes, sir. We're standing in front of your dad's car, Chip Miller's Corvette, where I'm only like 4 feet from the front of the car. I'd like to get closer, but Brian and Mariah, they won't let me get any closer.
Oh, that's no fair. You should be able to sit in the seat.
So tell us, Lance, your thoughts on Bowling Green, Kentucky. There's the National Corvette Museum here. I know you've been here many times.
Oh, I have. I love it. It's just, it's amazing to see all the different Corvettes and on display, and obviously, bringing it all together, and truly they get it. They understand that it's the people that are involved with the hobby and I love that aspect of the museum. You know, they obviously highlight a lot of people regarding the Hall of Fame induction, and I'm fortunate that my father was a big part of that.
I know, Lance, the Corvette runs deep in your family. You go back a long way with these cars.
Oh, without a doubt. I was born into the Corvette world, and I'm fortunate for it. And I've got a daughter that's 15, and certainly she's been surrounded by Corvettes her entire life, too. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great hobby, and like I said earlier, it's all about the people.
Absolutely, and it's really nice that Ella is following tradition as well. And obviously Ella just recently seen on a segment there within the Chrysler Nationals for 2024.
Yeah, that was cool that you did that. She enjoyed that.
That's really good. Lance, I want to let you go. I just wanted to let you know we were here, and thanks for being a part of this very special Classic Restos episode here at Bowling Green, Kentucky. I just couldn't be here and not let you know that I was here.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you called me, and it's always good hearing from you.
You have seen just some of the amazing National Corvette Museum here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It reflects how strong the Corvette legacy runs, and inside there is just so much more to see. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's more US content coming your way on next week's show, with a big thanks to Shannons. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch. Thanks for watching.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons. Sign up for the Shannons Club, Kenworth Trucks Australia, Pace Farm Eggs, and Holden Certified Service AC Delco Parts.